It all started with what was supposed to be a routine studio session for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's long-awaited cast album, but what transpired behind those closed doors has the world reality TV world in full collapse mode. Stories are flying. Throughout social media, timelines are overwhelmed, and now fans can't stop asking one question. Did Erica Banks truly slap Perk Frost on video bystanders? Believe it wasn't simply a slap. It was a full-blown outburst that had Rasheeda in tears, the cast in distress, and the entire production staff racing to put the cameras off. What began as creative differences between Kirk and Erica suddenly exploded into a passionate, deeply private debate that no one saw coming until Erica snapped, and the sound of that slap echoed louder than any verse ever recorded in the studio. And the worst part, Rasheeda, caught in the middle, utterly broke down. They say she stormed out, weeping uncontrollably, yelling that this just destroyed everything now. With the record supposedly on hold, cast alliances shifting, and videos possibly leaking, people are left wondering if this is the conclusion of the Frost legacy or simply the beginning of the biggest scandal in love and hip-hop history. It was a cold Atlanta morning. As Erica Banks stepped up to the studio, the fog clung to her matte black sub like a veil. Kirk Frost's muscle vehicle idled nearby engine, growling softly as he paced beside it. Arms folded and jaw trapped inside, producers hovered, closely by craft services muttering about the tight timetable and the danger of a blown budget. Carly Red stood off to the side, straightening her hair and scanning through her phone, eyes jumping to every new tweet that discusses Slapgate. Panicked, tapped his foot impatiently, earbuds swinging over his neck as he listened to playback mixes. Bambi hid at the rear, pasting on laughter that didn't reach her eyes. Tried to pretend everything was normal. Rasheeda entered the room, last her hand resting lightly on Kirk's arm, delivering a tentative smile to the others, even as her pulse beat with nerves. The instant the group crowded around the central vocal booth, Kirk rushed to the mixing console, fingers pounding on the fader. His stare concentrated on Erica as she approached the studio, mic in hand and large sunglasses obscuring her eyes. Everyone felt the tension increase. Rasheeda lifted a palm and exhaled, trying to steady the room. "We've got this," she muttered, more to herself than to else. The beat dropped, a booming bass line and crisp snares roaring through the monitors. Rasheeda took the lead, voice and confidence infusing the studio with warmth. Carly stepped in with a strong verse, her words slicing through the air, chaotic, followed by a forceful ad-lib, the exhilaration rising. Then Erica stepped forward, sitting into the booth, and closed her eyes. She began her poem, every syllable dripping with swagger and soul, offering a vivid picture of her rise and perseverance. Her confidence was irresistible till it was cut short. Kirk hit the mute button. The music faded. Erica froze, headphones dangling around her neck, expression unreadable behind her shades. She tapped the glass and said into the talkback speaker, "What's wrong?" Her voice calm yet solid. Kirk leaned back, arms folded. That was too smooth. He said, "I need grit, realness." That felt contrived. His words landed like a punch. Erica's lips pressed together. She waited for him to push play again, but he didn't. Instead, he grinned. "Try again, less polish, more passion." Her eyes burned with rebellion. She slid off her shades and set them on the console. "You want passion?" she questioned, voice low. "I brought passion," she took a large breath and resumed the track, pouring real heart into every line. Her hardships, her accomplishments, her journey from unknown musician to chart contender. The words echoed every beat, a heartbeat for a second. Kirk's harsh expression softened. Erica concluded, breast heaving, and waited quiet. Kirk tapped a button that allowed the track to fade away. "Not there yet," he stated crisply. Rasheeda's shoulders sagged. She neared the glass and said quietly, "It was good. Let it breathe." Kirk shook his head. "We're not done. This is my vision." The chill in his tone rippled across the room. Erica went out, took off her headphones and placed them on the mic stand, with purposeful determination. She confronted Kirk across the glass. "Your vision," she repeated. "This is a cooperative, not a dictatorship. Kirk turned to her, eyes tightening. I made this dream for you. Don't forget that the possessive edge in his voice pierced deep. She stepped closer, built it more like controlled it. I'm not a treasure to be. Displayed or handled, her statements rang across the studio. Carly Red drew forward, anxiousness squeezing her brow. Furious glanced to the producer, whose face went pale. Rasheeda's palm rushed to her mouth as she watched the confrontation unfold. Kirk rose from his sitting, extending the gap between them. His voice fell. You think you're better than me, better than this show? Erica squared her shoulders, chin high. No, I think I deserve respect. I deserve to be heard. She nodded to the mic and, not muted by your ego? The room halted its breath. Kirk stretched out fingers, stroking her shoulder. Maybe to stabilize her. Maybe to impose authority. Erica's eyes widened. She didn't hesitate. Her hand snapped out, connecting with Kirk's face in a resounding slap. The sound broke through the room like a gunshot. Kirk stumbled back, hand flying to his face. His shocked stillness gave way to a roar of ugliness. Manufacturers and security raced forward, creating a barrier. Carly Red gasped, hiding. Her mouth insane, murmured, Damn! Beneath his breath, Bambi dropped to the floor, staring in disbelief. Erica's chest heaved, adrenaline and revolt racing through her veins. Rasheeda lurched forward, tears spilling in her eyes as she watched Kirk hold his face. She went to her knees alongside him. Oh my God, she whispered, voice cracking. He's bleeding. Kirk waved her aside, brow furrowed. I'll survive, he grumbled. Nevertheless, his voice quivered. She clutched his hand, staring between him and Erica, her eyes filled with agony. Why, she breathed. Erica stood her ground, breathing tight, gaze steady. Because he crossed the line, she murmured softly, and I had to defend myself. Behind the glass, the producers instantly hushed the mics and cut the lights in the booth. The beat that had promised unification died, leaving only the echo of discord outside the booth. Kirk's damaged cheek flared scarlet beneath the harsh lights. He placed the towel over it, rage and hurt fighting in his eyes. Rasheeda sat alongside him, heads in her hands. She rocked softly, tears forming streaks down her cheeks. Kurt placed a hand on her back but didn't soothe her. Instead, he looked ahead, mind racing, as Erica strode beneath the studio's fluorescent lights, makeup partly smeared from sweat. She held her phone to her ear. Yeah, drop that snippet now, she remarked. Voice-steady fans were already speculating the statement Kirk Frost slapped by Erica Banks trended before the dust had settled. She hung up and faced Carly Red, who handed her a glass of water. Erica received it, fingers tight around. The cold plastic they need to know the truth? She whispered in the lounge. Rasheeda's tears bounced off the walls. Kirk knelt beside her, voice low. We'll solve this, he pledged. She looked up, tears obscuring her vision. Fix it, manner, she asked by pretending. It didn't happen by silencing me too. Kirk's jaw constricted his control before So Firm now slid between his fingers. Bambi slid in, carrying 2 styrofoam cups of coffee. She hesitated, then placed one in Rasheeda's shaking palm. You okay? She queried gently. Rasha shook her head, voice muffled. No, she murmured. Bambi massaged her arm. You will be. Across the room, producers conferred in calm tones, creating statements and arranging damage control outside those walls. Social media was blazing, fans took sides with ferocity. Team Erica swamped. Timelines declaring sympathy with Erica's stand against rudeness. Kirk rallied, accusing Erica of unprofessionalism and violence. Tabloids' need for special interviews. Talk show hosts praised the smack, the incident that altered Let Atlanta Forever. Back in the studio, Erica leaned against a wall. Arms folded, she noticed Rasheeda's glance through the open door of the lounge. I'm sorry you had to see that, she said quietly. Rasheeda's eyes blazed with conflicting feeling. Betray, compassion, pain, she swallowed hard. It's not you, she mumbled. It's us. Kirk rose, face set. Let's get back to work. he mumbled, voice brittle silence responded him. And so the album project lay in ruins, torn apart by a smack that reverberated far beyond the studio. Alliances had moved, loyalties challenged. With the promise of togetherness shattered, the following chapter will test who could bear the damage and whether love, hip-hop, and Atlanta would ever be the same again. The aftermath was electric cameras continued rolling, even as producers desperately tried to recover control. The rhythm that once promised union now lay mute, replaced by the mutter of anxiousness. Voices. Erica Banks stood just outside the booth chest, heaving her gloves flowing freely from her fingers like marks of defiance. She watched Kirk Frost remove the smudge of scarlet from his face, his eyes black with injured pride. Rasheeda lingered nearby, shoulders shaking, caught between dread for her partner and appreciation for the person who had defended herself. Carly read, destroyed the silence. "We can't just end it like this," she said, voice wavering. She glanced at the producer, who nodded warily. "Let's try to talk it out, clear the air." Kirk glanced at Erica. Mouth clenched for a second time, seemed to freeze. Both knew that this moment will define them all eventually. Kirk exhaled, voice low. "Fine, but this isn't over." In the green room, Rasheeda sunk onto a velvet couch, tears running. Freely, Bambi sat beside her, wrapping an arm across her trembling shoulders. "You okay?" she said. Rasheeda shook her head. "I just wanted us to be a family on this album." She peered up at Kirk, who was a few feet away, staring at his reflection in a mirror, changing his shirt. "And now look at us." Outside the studio, the hushed mob of paparazzi and fans had gathered. Phone cameras flashed as pieces of the confrontation sprang online. Tweets surged and someone captured the exact timing of the smack from a cracked studio window within minutes. Hashtags ignited. Shu, Slapgate. Chu Lattle, Chu, Team Rhea. Team Perk discussion show segments teased exclusive footage and untold information. The argument had extended beyond the studio bounds into global talk. Erica didn't wait for an invitation. She strode toward the exit, mixed still in hand. Carly followed, resting a loving touch on her back. "You want to give a statement?" she asked. Erica shook her head. "Not now, folks. Will talk no matter what I say." She paused, peering down the corridor at Rasheeda's apprehensive silhouette. "I need to talk to her alone back in the booth." Kirk turned to the producer. "This project was my vision. Now it's a mess." The producer gulped, voice strained. "We can rebuild. We may describe it as a period of passion. Raw drama, substantial stakes." Kirk's sight darted toward the closed lounge door. "We'll see in the lounge." Erica approached Rasheeda gently. The room smells of stale coffee and lipstick. Rasheeda gazed up through red-rimmed eyes. "Why did you do it?" she whispered. Erica perched on the arm of the couch. "Because he disrespected me right in front of you, in front of everyone. You couldn't let that slide. So why should I?" Rasheeda's lip quiver. "He's my spouse. I adore him, but I can't pretend he was right." She placed a palm across Erikicha's grasping arm. "I'm glad you stood up for yourself." The tension between them shifted, softened by honesty for a moment. Rasheeda felt a delicate respect rise for Erica's courage, but then reality crashed back in. Studio CEOs would demand allegiances, fans would take sides, and Kirk's wrath would not abate. Meanwhile, Kirk discovered Chaotic in a recording booth down the hall. Crazy was replaying crowd sounds and studio chat over headphones. Kirk leaned against the doorframe, arms crossing. "You think she had to do that?" he queried. Chaotic hesitated, then shrugged. "I get it." He crossed the line, but didn't have to go physical. Kirk glanced at him. "You're closer to my side." Chaotic shook his head. "I'm on the side of respect. If she slapped him, it's because she felt surrounded." Kirk's eyebrows narrowed. "They will regard it as an unprofessional stunt frantically pulled. His headphones, maybe, but they'll also see her strength drama cells in the control room." The producer flipped through camera angles. Film reveals Rasheeda's breakdown snatches of Erica's triumphal attitude, slow motion replay of the slap. It all flashed. On the monitors, he tapped his headset preparation crisis to depict this as an empowering moment for women standing up against disrespect. Touch out to Erica's counsel for a sit-down interview. The helper jotted notes outside the building alive. Stream host scribbled rapidly on a notepad. "This is merely the beginning," she whispered, eyes bouncing between her tablet. As the studio doors, fans packed phones to the glass, trying to catch a peek of cast reactions. Security softly but firmly guided them back, letting only permitted footage to escape in the next hour, far from the chaos. Erica tweeted a tweet, "No one deserves disrespect. Unity via music signifies respect for all, more to come." The post received tens of thousands of likes within minutes. Comments came in, some complimenting her bravery, others criticizing violence. She rejected the animosity, focused on the companionship back inside Rasheeda, prepared to re-enter the studio. She smoothed her attire, took a deep breath, and straightened her posture. Kirk approached her, placing a timid hand on her back. "I'm sorry," he muttered gently. She exhaled, seeing his eyes. "Apology not enough. You need to understand why she did that." Kirk nodded, voice wounded. "I crossed lines." "I shouldn't have." She nodded once curt. "Let's finish this for us, not for your ego." When they rejoined the group, quietness met them. Carly Red extended Rasheeda a modest gesture of encouragement, frenetic. "Step forward, we ready?" he asked. Rasheeda raised her chin. "Let's do it." Erica stayed back, arms folding. Gazing, Kirk caught her sight through the booth window. Eyes regretful, still pushed. Erica offered a curt nod. It was time to decide to operate together, or let the album die. The producer cleared his throat. "Okay, new plan. Let's record an extra track. Unity is respect. Every one of you. Share your viewpoint. Rasheeda, Kirk, Erica." A murmur rippled through the cast. Rasheeda closed her eyes. Voice gentle. Kirk glanced at Erica, jaw set. Erica crossed her arms tighter. The beat started a slower, sad melody that accentuated passion over energy. Rasheeda's vocal came originally, her tone tinged with remorse. She talked of love tested by pride, the misery of watching. Disrespect. Kirk followed, voice hoarse, recognizing fault, vowing. When it was Erica's turn, she leaned into the mic, sharing truth about boundaries, respect, and standing up. Her words resonated, honest, unapologetic, hopeful. When they filmed, cameras captured the tension mix with apprehensive collaboration. In that shared instant, things shifted, if only little, from confrontation toward possibility. The album's idea evolved from unity through music to unity through respect. When the session concluded, the cast gathered for a group shot. Rasheeda joined arms with Erica, and Kirk, expressions severe but enthusiastic, shooter, snapped madly. This image, three cast members united by conflict and teamwork, would become the distinguishing thumbnail for the next commercial later that. While Erica saw the film of the new track's hook, tears glimmered in her eyes as she whispered, "We did it." Rasheeda and Kirk joined her on the couch. Heads dropped for a short period. They were a family again, imperfect, weak, but bonded by music, and a lesson learned the hard way outside the world. Buzzed admirers, fought loyalties, tabloids, teased exclusives. However, within that small studio, a second story took life, one where quarrel led to discourse, where a slap echoed into an opportunity for respect. And as the moon rose above Atlanta, the cast recognized something essential. Sometimes the biggest blockbusters are born from the worst experiences. The new track dropped at midnight, and immediately the studio's phones lit up like a Christmas tree dish, called in requests. Bloggers posted early impressions, and fans flocked streaming platforms. Unity implies respect topped the charts faster than anyone imagined. Erica watched the live viewer count climb higher from her couch, heart bursting at every news stream. Rasheeda sat beside woman, clutching a cup of lukewarm tea, tears of relief flooding in her eyes. Kirk paused at the doorway, arms folded, pride wearing with humility, as the trio shared a quiet moment of success. Although rejoicing was brief by morning, the tabloids had twisted the narrative into fresh controversy headlines. screamed that the trio's reconciliation was a PR gimmick, accusing them of exploiting their money for ratings. Talk show hosts debated if the slap had been real or faked, doubting Erica's motives and Kirk's honesty social.